Federal emergency management should be state and locally led rather than how it has operated for decades. It has been slow to respond at the federal level. It's even been slower to get the resources to Americans in crisis. And that is why this entire agency needs to be eliminated as it exists today and remade into a responsive agency.
A core principle of emergency management, Caitlin, has always been locally executed, state managed, and federally supported. FEMA does not run these incidents. They never have. And they come in only at the request of the state in order to support them when it exceeds their capacity. We can't ask states to replicate everything that the federal government can provide. They just won't be able to do it.
We're getting new reporting here tonight at CNN about the federal response. And CNN has learned that the response from FEMA was actually slowed by efforts to constrain federal spending. Sources inside the agency are telling CNN that officials were ready to get urban search and rescue teams in position when the water was starting to rise on Friday. But a new rule that was put in place by the secretary that every contract and grant over $100,000 requires her personal sign-off before any of those funds can be released. That sign-off, multiple sources told CNN, didn't come until Monday, more than 72 hours after the flooding began. A DHS spokesperson responded in part with this, saying, quote, FEMA is shifting from a bloated, DC-centric deadweight to a lean, deployable disaster force that empowers state actors to provide relief for their citizens. Actually on the ground in a moment like this and making those split-second decisions, what roles would something like this have meant for you in a moment like the floods in Texas and as that's happening?
I lived by one very simple principle, and that is time is our most precious commodity. And so the quicker you can move resources into an area, even before you know the extent of it, then the easier it's going to be able to support those state requests for assistance immediately. What happened, I think, here is that we couldn't move, or FEMA couldn't move those resources in like they normally would to be on the ground ready once they found out how bad the situation was, and you lose time. And so what it does is it takes away the one critical aspect that FEMA has, and that's the agility to move fast. And so they had to wait until Monday from what I understand, to even be able to move them, where they would have been moving on Friday and they would have been in place even before this approval came through on Monday.